with the neurotics of myself earlier in the year, and then in October 1985 I was off to Belfast for the first time ever. This of course was during the Troubles. The Anglo-Irish Agreement was about to be signed, much to Ian Paisley's disgust, and the signs of war and division were everywhere. I met and stayed with Martin Smith, editor of Youth Anthem fanzine, with whom I'd already been in touch, and he and his mates made it clear to me exactly where, as a youngish bloke with an English accent, I could go safely, or I couldn't. I remember walking through the security gates in Belfast city centre and thinking, this really is a war zone. 18 years later, with help from the late lamented Colin McQuillan, singer with Belfast punk legends Running Riot, I recorded a live spoken word, a music album called, imaginatively, Live in Belfast, at a newest venue called the War Zone Centre. By that time, there was enough hope for that youth community centre to have been so named tongue-in-cheek, but 1985 was very different. Many English bands and performers wouldn't go to Belfast at that time. I took the view that as long as I accepted the advice of those who lived there as to what to play and what to do, I'd be fine. Of course I was. The punk scene was one of the few areas where the two sides mixed freely and openly, because of course the whole idea of punk was to reject that kind of bigotry and division, as summed up in Stiff Little Fingers' wonderful anthem, Alternative Ulster. Martin soon introduced me to Terry Hooley, founder of the Good Vibrations record shop and label, and the man behind the success of bands like The Outcasts, Rudy, and of course The Undertones. I still haven't seen the acclaimed film of the same name made about his life, but by this time this book is published, I will have done, no doubt of that. I still haven't. I will do so. My first gig in Belfast was an anti-apartheid benefit at Queen's University on Thursday the 24th of October, and over the next few days I enjoyed the hospitality of Martin and his family. He showed me around the city, or the bits of it where it was safe for us to go. We spent a lot of time in the legendary Lavery's bar. I filmed a poem for BBC Belfast on top of the Europa Hotel, which had the dubious distinction of being the most bombed hotel in Europe. And on the Sunday we went to Dublin. I didn't have a gig there, I just wanted to visit the place, since I'd never been to Ireland before. It took a few years before I came back. In 1989 I did gigs in the Rotterdam Bar and Queen's Speakeasy, and in the early 90s I played the Aerogaline, then at the Cathedral Quarter Festival at the beginning of the last decade, and at the War Zone Centre as mentioned above. There have been other visits too. I remember once doing a gig at Lagan College, a pioneering school with pupils from both sides of the divide. I always had a good time, especially after the peace process had taken hold. I could go there with Robina, whose maternal family originated from Clough, County Down, and walk together around parts of the city we could never have visited in safety 20 years before. I also played at Derry Arts Centre once, and eventually got to do a gig in Dublin too. I still remember that gig. It was at a pub which had two names, the Firestone or the Plough. I also remember that I've never seen so many pissed people in one room before. I finally came back to Dublin for the James Comedy Festival in 2015. But my most unlikely souvenir of Belfast is a photo Martin took of me sitting in an old bath we found lying around at Knockbracken Snooker Centre. It was a publicity photo for years, and it's in this book. I really like Belfast, a brave and vibrant city, and I'm due a return visit, and here I am. Cheers.